Lyserg finally joins Team YOH, and YOH becomes the de facto leader of Team YOH because Ren chose him. It's just Ren. Anyways, we're here to talk about episode 14 of Shaman King, the 2021 version. Welcome to Gamerturk's Onsen. Today I am once again solo because, this weekend we're getting Sword Online anime news for that progressive Area of a Starless Night movie, so I don't want to spend way too much time having to edit this, so I will keep it short. This week we were introduced to Lyserg if we're going with the Japanese pronunciation, but I prefer Lyserg just like I prefer Eliza. But yeah, it was a fine episode, I'd say, nothing stand out, but nothing stand out on the opposite side of the spectrum as well, thank God. Generally, I'd say it was definitely a good episode on its own. My general meh nature towards this episode comes from the fact that Lyserg is not exactly one of my favorite characters. I also do have some issues with his Japanese voice. My ear still needs to get adjusted to it because it sounds... I know, he sounds a bit more confident and less childlike compared to the English dub as well as the Turkish dub, of course, which I am generally used to. But again, as I said, it was a fine episode. It's just my general distaste for... not distaste, general disinterest in Lyserg that's causing me to not be, let's say, thrilled about the episode. But yeah, we started with last week's final scenes, which were absolutely amazing scenes between Hao and Lililala. And then we cut over to YOH, of course, sensing that she's perhaps trying to reach out to him, and everyone just dismisses it and on, The scene is just doesn't really have much of a purpose here, does it? We just see it and move on. It doesn't fit anywhere into the narrative itself, so I'm a bit weirded out by some choices. Like afterwards at home we are talking about Hao as well between Ren and YOH. Of course that ties into Lyserg more prominently compared to something that's like Lililala's thing from last week. But again, just that starting point, despite the scene being epic, I kind of felt like that opening was out of place for the purposes of this episode. But yeah, no complaints specifically. We get a bit more insight on YOH when we were back at the hotel with Ren asking him questions, etc. And then we are introduced to Lyserg. In fact, before that, I absolutely love how Ren is completely in control of the entire group. He literally just picks YOH to be the leader without asking anyone, and those kind of comedic bits, that's what makes that specific group of people so entertaining for me. They're just bouncing off each other so nicely. I like that. Those kinds of stuff, please give us more of that. But again, that back and forth between inside the members of the group, it contrasts perfectly to how they actually get along with each other. The moment Lyserg arrives and he's a bit antagonistic, so confident in himself, overconfident in himself, they're really there to back each other up, with Ren instantly going after Lyserg the moment Horo is in danger. And it's like the dynamics between the group, I always loved it and I will keep loving it because these characters are just so much fun together. However, one of my main issues this episode, coming from the original anime over here, I did enjoy all those Ryu Lyserg ship moments before you realized that Lyserg was in fact a male character, and even after he was revealed as a male character, Ryu just kept the shtick going, which was always fun to see him. It was a really friendly thing that he was constantly reaching out to Lyserg to be more trusting in them. That's kind of a disappointment. That's part of my disappointment from this episode. It's that Ryu's moments with Lyserg trying to convince him, trying to get him to trust them. It boiled down to 2 sentences in 2 different scenes. That was one of the things I was personally looking forward to, and not having it, of course, when you expect something and it doesn't happen, naturally you get disappointed. No other way to talk about it. The fight scene was, again, decent, not anything amazing, but certainly decent. Those supportive moments between the characters with Ren and Horo, always important. And then YOH actually, his patience running thin. It's those rare moments that YOH gets to show his I'm not gonna bother with your bullshit side of his character. I do kind of find it weird that he seems to be punching a lot of people recently. 2 episodes back to back. Last week he punched Horo, this week he's punching Lyserg. I don't remember him punching people back in the original anime all this much, but okay, unless it becomes a usual thing, I'm not gonna complain because, you know, Lyserg really deserved it here, and Horo had deserved it last week as well. But I hope it doesn't become a usual thing, you know? Just the right hand shtick belongs to Anna, not Yo. Lyserg's backstory was really nicely covered, and one of those things I want to mention, you know, this scene, the scene of Lyserg's past, it takes place 8 years into the past in 1992, and right now it is 2000 in the time of the anime. And I don't remember if this was the case back in the original anime too, but they really did pay the attention to not only make Hao, or Zeke for some of you people, I did receive some comments regarding I'm gonna call him Zeke kind of things in the previous videos. They not only made Hao look slightly younger, which I don't think it was enough of a younger Hao for being 8 years prior, but they also turned the spirit of fire to be a whole lot younger as well than the behemoth he is today. Again, it's all the details that I like. But yeah, I want to talk a bit more about the fight scene itself. I feel like if there's one thing I absolutely have to choose that I like from the original anime compared to this, it's that, you know, sometimes you feel like something is dragging on because it's taken so long, but goddamn, I feel like we desperately need the fight scenes to be longer. Every single thing. This is happening way too often. That's why I want to highlight this as much as I can. A whole lot of the fight scenes we have had so far was 1 or 2 attacks completely decimating the hero side, and then one thing the hero does, it just flips it all around with a single hit. We are receiving this way too often at this point. This wasn't the case as much because, you know, it's a shonen show, that's how it usually goes. But the scenes back in the original anime having a whole lot more time to flesh out things, well, yes, some fights were getting way too long. More often than not, it was giving you a sense of why these people are losing and then why 2 seconds later this other person is winning. We seem to be lacking on that front an awful lot of times in the 2021 remake. You know, Horo is just getting one shot, Ren is just getting one shot, it all turns to Yo one-shots Lyserg comes back up again, Yo one-shots him again, fight over, done. I have no idea why Horo and Ren lost, despite Yo saying, oh, they may have been distracted for whatever reason. That's not good enough of an explanation, okay? Give us a bit more context to these fight scenes. Maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say inner monologues because especially for something as fast-paced as this, inner monologues don't really work, and Manta is not there to commentate over the fights for the viewer to understand what the fuck is really happening. But you know, 1-2 sentences from somewhere, oh, Horo just messed this up because of this. I don't know, it's just, don't throw it away and make everything happen in one-shots like these. It's just, it undermines the character himself when they can botch up to get one shot every single fight. It's just, it's a bit too much, and it's starting to get distracting in the remake because it's happening way too often. Aside from that, the angry Yo that gets compared to Hao, again, I love that back in the original anime, and they did so much justice for it in the remake as well. That's an absolutely beautiful shot, so I will give them that much. Of course, back at the restaurant, they are teaming up a bit. Lyserg wanted to go away, trying to find another team to call, you know, allies, because he's specifically looking for allies. He's not exactly looking for friends. And I feel like that's one of the things this episode did greatly. While I don't have much love for Lyserg's character specifically, the portrayal of him in this episode, keeping me disinterested in him personally, I think it portrayed Lyserg's general attitude to the friendship / being allies thing perfectly. He's, as I said, he's specifically looking for allies, not friends. And I really like Ryu is trying to, you know, bring him into the crowd. Although in the most Ryu way possible. I love it. It's just, Ryu is perfect. Give us more Ryu. But of course, Lyserg is still keeping those suspicions about Yo because, you know, he literally saw Hao's face in Yo's face in that specific instance. And of course, one of those things that the original anime did much better is the fact that, well, Yo and Hao being brothers was actually a mystery back in the original anime, whereas the remake over here, the first 2 minutes of the remake was literally Yo and Hao being born, completely getting rid of the mystery. We talked about this multiple times with Val as well in the previous episodes, but you know, if you gave away the mystery in your first 2 minutes of the entire series, maybe don't try to play things off as if they're still mysteries, because they are not mysteries. You gave that away like 14 episodes ago. That's not a mystery. Everybody knows. I understand the characters themselves don't know, but again, don't put so much emphasis on something that we know so very well as the viewers. Maybe try to shift focus to something more important for the viewer in this case, because Yo and Hao being brothers, that's a given for us. That's the more you focus on it from a character point of view, yes, that may be accurate, and even in the original anime's case, they did it because that was accurate. It's the fact that you're already very constrained on time, and you are wasting that time on something the audience already knows. And I don't think that's the best idea one can have when one is so constrained in regards to time. But yeah, at the end, we see Mikisa still kind of following Yo and reporting it to the grandpa Asakura. Yomei, I completely blanked out on the name. I am not gonna edit that out. And then we see Yomei taking Anna to tell her the secrets of the Asakura family, which again, I am not sure if we're gonna specifically see next week, but it is going to be relevant in the upcoming episode. So definitely looking forward to Anna's journey over there, and hopefully we will not skip Anna's past as well in some of those future episodes, because that is one of the things I am really looking forward to, since we talked about it in episode 2, episode 3, because we did receive a flashback of it, and I really don't want that getting cut away. But yeah, that's pretty much everything from episode 14 of Shaman King. Of course, we have a new ending sequence, specifically focusing on Iron Maiden Jean, which I am really looking forward to. I am interested in how the anime is going to portray her, because her situation is going to be, let's say, quite brutal, and well, getting Ponchi and Conchi on screen, you know, with their balls out without wearing any underpants, you know, we may get to see Iron Maiden Jean portrayed properly as well, although that's gonna be interesting. That's all I'm gonna say. The ending should still remain very mysterious to you as to what appears at the very end of it, and unless you want to be spoiled, let that mystery be a mystery. The anime is going to reveal it all to you in a couple episodes, especially with the pacing we're going at. All I'm gonna say is, it was a good idea to have this ending appear on the episode Lyserg first appeared. I'm just gonna say that much. Next episode is titled When the Pieces Come Together, and since my memory is way too vague about what's going to happen next, I don't remember what's gonna happen next, so I will be just as surprised as you are until I realize what they're adapting, and hopefully I'll be pleased. I don't know, I'll see you then. Until then, stay cool. Thank you very much for watching, hope you enjoyed. I said stay cool too early, so once again, stay cool.